Hey everybody, it's Kate with Kate.tv, and actually I just got done reading a blog post from my good friend Carol Roth, and I'm going to be linking. She just posted it up on her blog and put it on Twitter, but I want to respond to it. She's basically 4 ways restaurants can improve the customer experience, and Carol calls this unsolicited uh, feedback, if you will. Now, I have over 20 years in the restaurant business. Actually, really have 55 years in the restaurant business because I eat them as well. Imagine that. So, as a general manager, as a server, as every single form. So, just want to give a little feedback, and thanks, Carol, for putting this out there. And hopefully, it'll get a little bit of views, if you will, because it's important, really important. So, first thing she says, I'm going to read this. Oh, got to put on my readers because cataract surgery. So. Talks about take and honor reservations. Again, many years, had over 10,000 employees, many different restaurants that I work with. She talks about time being the most precious and fleeting resource. Everything I always say is all about the training and taking time, and unfortunately, too many times people don't spend the time training, but time being a commodity, everybody, including the managers, have to be part of this position. So whether it be a new restaurant, etc., have somebody actually experiencing that time and knowing down to a science, because you gotta be able to respect the people's time. Too many times hostesses just get thrown up there in that particular position. The person's answering the phone has no idea. They're kind of given a time frame, if you will, saying, okay, yeah, there's almost a formula, but what happens is that the manager themselves, who's ever on duty as part of leadership, has to be able to touch base with that on really a 15-minute increment, so because that's so important, because you're going to lose that customer. So timing is so important to training those hostesses, and quite frankly, I always say that the supervisors on duty really need to be there at the initial onset to begin with, too, to make sure that they're keeping on time and reacting to that. So as Carol says, a 7:30 reservation should not be a 7:50 seating. So big lesson there for people. Some people, believe it or not, some restaurants actually believe that that just means that you come there and that is acceptable. So thanks, Carol, for sharing that. I'm going to be spreading that to some people that I know in the restaurant business to listen. So it's good. And then you say here, write down my damn order. I love that you say that, whether it be from a general manager standpoint, supervisory standpoint, or serving people. Quite frankly, I can pretty much remember up to 5 people's orders at once, but I still write it down, because God forbid that one little small item might not get to the table. So even though I always pride myself in that, I write it down just to double check, etc. So, and this is interesting because perception is everything. Perception is everything. A lot of waiter waitresses, I always say, I always strive to be the best server, because really that's what we are, whether you're a manager or whatever, you're the best server. So here is a client, customer, saying to us to write it down because it makes you feel better. So thank you for expressing that. People think they're going to get a bigger tip at times. I've trained many servers in my lifetime, and it's a little bit of ego there, but I got to tell you, those are part of the steps of service, is writing down. And I can't tell you, I've fired quite a number of servers who, I said that's part of the steps of service, is writing down the order. And I would watch them out there and think that they were being whatever, but these are their steps, because it's the perception the customer has. Even if it was right, that anxiety that the customer is going to have isn't good at all. So thanks for doing that. And for brownie points, I mean, check the food against the written order before you bring it to the table. What a novel idea. Again, training, training, training. Everybody has to have eyes on that, so there should be checkpoints on that, moving forward, and repeating the order back if you're not sure. Don't ever be shy to repeat an order back. It's going to do you more good than harm, if you will. It says here, stop leaning over me while I eat. And this is interesting to me, Carol. Well, not interesting because I know this to be true, because I talk a lot all the time to customers, internal and external. It says here, stop leaning over me while I eat. It's my #1 restaurant pet peeve. It ranks my top 5 peeves in life. Well, you probably already know this, but I would tend to say 99.9% training manuals of restaurants, it says to remove as soon as the dish is empty, to remove it. So that's kind of drilled in a lot of people's minds. I myself over time have just said, okay, watch me as you walk through a restaurant, etc. There's a way to remove plates without being hovering over or leaning over people. But I'm delighted that you said this because so true is that people are out and they want to be able to relax. So whether or not that's the people's intent, or whether it be the server or the restaurant's intent, is to hurry up and get out of the restaurant. Obviously, that takes place. Some servers are just like that. They shouldn't be serving, but again, it boils down to training. We want people to be like guests in their own home. And goodness knows, I like to keep dishes all around because that's part of the social experience. So this is great to say. You got to read a table. You got to read a table, but overall, that's part of the kind of the rules and the training manual that's out there. That's drilled into so many companies, heads, etc. I think people need to revisit that a little bit, especially in today's crazy day and age. You're there, and you don't want to be which of these kids is doing his own things? Being the last one left with a dish in front of me. So, hurry up and eat, Carol. No, I'm only teasing. So that's great. And don't answer if you don't give a flying. How true is that? And that's part of people, listening skills and teaching people how to do that. Do not be a rote. Sometimes it becomes a restaurant rote. Sometimes it's hard enough to just get people to ask how's everything as opposed to was everything okay at the register. So sincere training with people at every single level, whether it be top supervisor, dishwasher, it doesn't matter. Everybody's got to care a lot about the people in there. So you can pretty much see that by the interaction of the employees with each other, whether or not they're caring about teamwork, etc. And as far as people that don't care, actually Marty and I just got back from a restaurant today, one of our favorite restaurants, Lenny's, an amazing restaurant here in Clearwater, Florida, kind of the place where the Philadelphia Phillies go when they're in town. Love it there. Superb service. I still say something because that's just the way I am. Today we had their special is fried chicken, and it comes with delicious homemade mashed potatoes. Today the mashed potatoes were just tepid. So I said something because I knew that our waitress Jill would want to know, and she's like, "Okay, Kate, you want me to get you a fresh batch?" I said, "No, just for next time because they have a superb cooking. Don't know if they had a new cook. Just made sure I say it." And I watched because I knew that she was going to go back to the kitchen and also to the owner Dan Farrell there, etc. So they care, they listen. That's an independently run restaurant, but even from a corporate standpoint, being able to a lot of restaurants tell people they are empowered to do the right thing, but it's got to be an example of following through on that empowerment, if you will, and always say whatever it takes to make the customer happy and to make sure that they report the good things there and put it out. So I'm just going to get back right away to the hostess type of thing. Just recently I kind of gave a little chatted with somebody about how Twitter is kind of like the restaurant hostess, if you will. So if you're at a restaurant and you're not on Twitter, because boy, I would kind of know you when you walked in the door, all about you. So Twitter's kind of like a hostess in the restaurant business. I just thought I'd throw that in. So anyways, it's Kate with Kate.tv. Thanks, Carol, for your unsolicited feedback. I always love listening to the customers' real wants and needs. They're just not about food, they're also about an enjoyable social experience. So people buy people before they buy products and service, and what's more social than restaurants? So I have fun, always had fun Twittering before it was called that in all my restaurants. Later.